Hello Year 6 and happy Friday, and also happy half term. This is your last video of this week, but also your last video of this half term. After this week, you have got a week off your home learning until we come back after half term and start our home learning again. So today then we are carrying on with time. So our little warm up is time based. I will send you the link on Marvelous Me, but if you want to quickly, you can just type matching pairs time into Google and it will bring you up with this game, Match the Times. And then you just click on play and then you've got a few options. So you've got analog to analog, which is like when you've got your clock faces. You've got digital time, like on the time that you use on your phone or on the telly. Analog to words, so you can match the words with the times on a clock face, and digital to words, so again matching words to times. So you can choose one. So if I choose analog to words, and then you've got cards like this, you turn them over and see if you can find a matching pair. So I've got 2:30, but that's 5:30, so that's not a match, is it? So they turn back over. So I've got 1 o'clock and 2:30. So no, 3:45. So you'll keep trying until you get your matches. It's just to get your brains back into thinking about time, because it can be tricky. So if you pause the video now and have a couple of games on the time game before we go into today's learning. Okay, so you should have had a little go of those. So today then, our learning question today is, can I solve time problems? Okay, now we are again working in our Year 5 workbook. So hopefully you found it yesterday. So we are working in our Year 5 workbook and it is page 32. So your Year 5 workout book, and it is page 32 because we haven't done any time, so I didn't want to jump straight into the Year 6 book. So today then, you are going to be solving some time problems. So I'm going to do a few that are similar together before you get going in your workbook. So you have got this timetable. This is the exact same timetable that you've got on page 32. And I'm just going to do a different couple of questions that will help you out today. So you've got a class going on a school trip to the zoo. So all these different events happen at different times throughout the day. So this is what you need to answer the questions. So this is for section 1 on page 32. So I've got, how long does it take class A to get to the zoo? Now we're using a number line again, like we did yesterday. So if I have a look, so they left school at 8:55 and they arrived at the zoo at 9:34. So I'm going to put 8:55 at this end and 9:34 at this end. Okay, so then I've got to work out how long it took. So I'm going to get myself to the next hour first. Now remember, we can't add times in a column because it won't work. Because remember that 60 minutes are in an hour, aren't they? Okay, so 60 minutes are in an hour. So I'm on 55 here. So if I add another 5 minutes, that will get me to the next hour. Okay, and now I've just got to jump to 9:34. So I can do a big jump of 34 minutes because that will take me to 9:34. And then my final step is I can add these two together. So 34 add 5, it took them 39 minutes. You've got some similar questions to that in the questions that you have got, where you've got to work out a gap of time. Okay, so you might have something like, how long was the zoo tour? So you'd go from this time to this time. So in exactly the same way, use your number line. So the next one I want to have a look at together is, how much longer is the lunch than the penguin feeding? So I'm going to do how long the lunch is with you, and then you're going to do how long the penguin feeding is, and then there's another step to that question. So there's 3 steps. So I'm going to do a step, you're going to do a step, and we're going to do the last step together. So the lunch then, so I've got to work out how long lunch is. So lunch starts at 1 o'clock and ends at 2:30. So it starts at 1 o'clock and ends at 2:30. They've got quite a long lunch. Okay, so I'm going to jump an hour first to 2 o'clock. So that's 1 hour. So that gets me to 2 o'clock. And then if I jumped another hour, that would get me to 3 o'clock. So that would take me too long. So I'm just going to jump the 30 minutes to get me to 2:30. So lunch is 1 hour, 30 minutes. Okay, so the penguin feeding, then you're going to do this one. So I'll just give you a little helping hand. So the penguin feeding starts at 2:35 and ends at 12:35 and ends at 1 o'clock when lunch starts. Okay, so you've got 12:35 that it starts and it ends at 1 o'clock. Okay, so pause the video now and work out how long the penguin feeding took. Okay, so let's have a look at it together. So if I do, 35 minutes, so I've got to get to 60 minutes. Now, because it goes up in 5s, I think I'm going to do that in one jump. So 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So that's 5 5, so 25 minutes. Oh, that's only one jump then. So 25 minutes takes me to 1 o'clock. So you should have worked out that penguin feeding takes 25 minutes. Okay, so now that's not finished. We've worked out, so let's go back to the question. We've worked out lunch, we've worked out penguin feeding, but we've got to work out how much longer lunch is. So lunch is 1 hour and 30 minutes and the penguin feeding is 25 minutes. So we've got to work out how much longer. So that's the same as finding the difference. So to find the difference then, we need to subtract. So the bigger value is 1 hour 30 minutes. And we've got to take away 25 minutes. So if you feel like you can, so it's going to be taking it away off the minutes. Some of you might do a big jump of 25 minutes in one go. You might go back in 5s. So take away 5 minutes, that would still be 1 hour, 25 minutes. So take away another 5. So we've got to take away 5 lots of 5 because we're taking away 25 minutes. 1 hour 20. Your third lot of 5, that's 1 hour 15. Your fourth lot of 5, that's 1 hour 10. And your last lot of 5 takes you to 1 hour and 5 minutes. So the lunch is 1 hour 5 minutes longer than the penguin feeding. You've got one similar to that. Remember, it is 3 steps. So take your time. Okay, so another one we're going to look at together is how long after they have arrived at the zoo do they start the zoo tour? So let's have a look at what time they arrive at the zoo. So they arrive at the zoo at 9:34 and they start the tour at 9:45. So they arrive at the zoo at 9:34 and they start the tour at 9:45. So I'd like you to pause the video now and see if you can work out the gap between 9:34 and 9:45. Okay, so let's have a look at it together. So I'm going to see if I can add on 10 minutes straight away. So if I just add on 10 minutes, I'm just looking at the minutes. So it's not going to go over 60, so the hours are going to stay the same. So it would be 9:44. Okay, oh, I'm nearly there now, so I only need to add 1 minute. So that was adding 10 minutes, that was adding 1 minute. So it was 11 minutes after they arrived at the zoo that they started the zoo tour. How did you do? Okay, so that is your first section. You've got lots of questions on this table at the top. Okay, we've done some that are really similar to the ones that you have got there. Just take your time, use your number line. Make sure that you are doing your working out in your purple book. Okay, it's tricky to do it in your head, especially when there's more than one step. So the second section then, here, you've got some questions all about seconds and minutes and weeks and hours and days. So we're going to have a look at a few that are similar to the ones that you have got. So this is the screen that you might want to pause on when you are doing it. So it tells you that there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 52 weeks in a year, 7 days in a week, and 24 hours in a day. So you might want to, when you start answering, come back to this screen and pause it on that to help you, because there's quite a bit of working out for this. So we're going to do, I'll do one with you, then you're going to have a little go and we'll go through it. So this one says, how many seconds are there in 3.25 minutes? Now that might seem really tricky because it's got a decimal in it. Now, the 3 minutes we can work out. So let's have a look at that one first. So let's go back to my screen where I showed you. So it says seconds are there in 3 minutes. Now there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So 60 seconds is 1 minute. We want 3. So if we were going to work that out, we can do 60 times 3. Okay, now we can use techniques that we know for multiplication. So we can cover the 0 up. 6 times 3 is 18, and put your 0 back on. So in 3 minutes, there are 180 seconds. But this bit is the bit I want to look at together because this bit's a bit tricky, or it seems a bit tricky because it's a decimal. Now, so we've done the 3, so we've got 0.25 left to do. Now that's the same as a quarter, okay? So 0.25 is the same as a quarter. So all we need to do is divide 60 by 4. That's all we need to do. So 60 divided by 4, so you might want to do a bus stop. So 4 into 6 is 1 with 2 left over. 4 into 20 is 15. So now, 0.25 is the same as 15 seconds. So all we need to do now is add these two together. So 180 add 15 would be 195 seconds. So this one that I want you to do by yourself now should be quite easy because you know that 0.25 minutes is always 15 seconds. Okay? So I want you to pause the video now. You've got how many seconds are there in 6.25 minutes? And in your purple book, I want you to have a go at that question. Then we'll go through it together. Okay, so you should have had a go at that one now. So I've got 6. I'll do my 6 minutes first. So I know that there are 60 seconds in a minute and I've got to do 6 of them. Cover my 0. 6 times 6 is 36. I'll put my 0 back on. And then before I worked out that, so I've done the 6 minutes, so I worked out that 0.25 is the same as 15 seconds. So it would be 375 seconds. So I wonder how you did. Okay, see if you got 375. So another one that we are going to look at together then. How many minutes are there in 2? And then you've got a fraction. 2 1/3 hours. You might not be able to see that very well. So it's 2 1/3 hours we've got to work out. So like we did before, we'll start with the easy bit. We'll work out the 2. So it's how many minutes are there in 2 hours? Now I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I've got to do 60 multiplied by 2. So I can do 6 times 2 is 12 and put the 0 back on. So now I've got to work out 1/3. Now that's just the same as dividing by 3. Okay, so when I'm working out 1/3 of 60, I'm going to do 60 divided by 3. So I might do a bus stop if you're not sure, but you could do how many 3's go into 6? That's 2, and then put your 0 back on. So So I've got 2 hours is the same as 120. A third is the same as 20. So now I just need to add these two together. So it would be 140 minutes. Okay, so I've got one for you to have a go at, but I just want to point something out first. So this time you've got how many minutes are there in 5 and 2/3. So I'm going to write that in so you can see. Okay, so you've got 5 and 2/3. So if 1/3 is 20, you've got to do 2/3. So that would be 40. So you've got 5 hours. Remember, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So you need to do 5 times 60 and then have a go at adding the 2/3 as well. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so you should have started then with 60 times 5. So 6 times 5 is 30. Put my 0 back on. Then 2/3, so 1/3. So we know that 1/3 is 20. So 2/3 would be 40. So it's just 20 times by 2. And then I'll add it on to 300. So 300 add 40 is 340 minutes. Okay, so we're going to look at another one together then. So how many weeks then are there in 7 3/4 years? So I told you at the beginning, and if when you come to yours, you go back and pause it on that screen, I told you that there are 52 weeks in 1 year. So our first job is 52 multiplied by 7, because I want to find out how many there are in 7 years. Okay, so 2 times 7 is 14. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 is 36. So in 7 years, there's 364 weeks. Now we've got to work out how many weeks there are in 3/4 of a year. So all you have to do first is divide by 4. So 52 divided by 4, because I'm working out what 1/4 is first. So there are 13 weeks in 1/4. Lots of steps to this one. So I want to know 3/4. So I know that 1/4 is 13, but I want to know 3/4. So I will multiply it by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. So now I've got my two numbers. I've got 364. That's how many there are in 7 years. And I've got 39. That's how many there are in 3/4. And I need to add them together. Okay, I'm going to move that down a little bit. So I've got some space to do that. So I've got 364 here, and then I'm going to add 39. Okay, so 4 add 9 is 13. 6 add 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 3 add 1 is 4. So it would be 403 weeks in 7 3/4 years. So I'm going to ask you to do one of those. It's exactly the same. So this time, how many weeks are there in 6 3/4 years? Now you've already got that 3/4 is 39, so you might use that to help you. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so the first thing we need to do then is 6 times 52, because there are 52 weeks in 1 year. So 2 times 6 is 12. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 is 31. Okay, so that's how many there are in 6 years. So then I know that 3/4 is 39. So 312 add 39 is 3, 4, 5. 3 add nothing is 3. Okay, so it would be 351. Okay, so that's section 2. They are some top tips to help you with section 2. I'm going to put this screen back up so that when you come on to section 2, you can pause it here to remind yourself of all the values. Okay, so time can be a really tricky one, so just do your best. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your work, and I want to say a huge well done for your hard work over this last half term. Working at home, doing your schoolwork at home is so tricky, both for you and whoever is helping you at home. So a big well done to both you and whoever's at home if they are listening, but if not, you can pass it on. Have a lovely, lovely rest at home this week, away from videos, away from seeing us every day. But we will be back on the YouTube videos after half term, and hopefully then we are a little bit closer to all of us being back together because we miss you lots. Have a lovely half term, and I will speak to you soon.